Hello, this is wmpyr. For today's lesson, we're going to be working with the single knife, so please make sure that you use a training knife. And the overall goal is pretty simple. It's to increase your arsenal so that you become more technical. Now, why is it important to become more technical? Well, it's because in an extreme situation, it's very easy and natural for us to start going into fantasy. What do I mean by that? In an extreme situation, you start thinking bad thoughts. You start going, well, am I going to end up dead in this encounter? Am I going to be on the news tomorrow? Are my friends and my family, are they going to be disappointed in me? And am I going to be locked up? And am I going to become a murderer? This kind of stuff is all fantasy. You're pondering things that hasn't happened yet. In the meantime, the situation is extreme, and you should be very, very busy because your hands should be very, very full, and you shouldn't be thinking about stuff like that. So being technical is like when you're thinking about, okay, so when he slashes right now, because he has slashed me 5 times already, this next one, I'm going to try to move out of the way and cut him underneath. And as I do that, I'll try to step out and set up for my next move and see how he responds from there. You're being technical. When I hollow out, I gotta make sure, because this guy, he might change his movement and go for my legs. So when I hollow out, I gotta also step out. This kind of being technical like this is all stuff that's right now, that's happening right now. It's gonna help me now. This is the stuff that I need to do to hopefully get out of this situation. So that's why it's important to be technical. Now, please don't think that being technical is the best, it's the ultimate thing, because, for example, you could be so busy about grip or, whatever's happening right at the moment, footwork or body angling or whatever it is that's happening, and you forget that there's a guy right there, he just comes over and kicks you from the side. You're so focused on this right here that you miss out on the overall picture. So don't think that being technical is the most important thing. But for now, it's also very important to have in your arsenal so that you don't start thinking bad things. Okay, so on our quest to become more technical, one of the things that we're going to do is add a new way of stabbing. That's what this is. This is called the Reaper technique in my system, and it comes from eskrima. So we do this with the stick, okay? But now we're going to do it with the training knife. And this is what it looks like. Basically, you're just going to go boom, like this. You're stabbing and you're piercing through. It's a stab that goes all the way through. It's a stab from the side, so it's a hook. So you're going boom, like this. Notice right here, I could stop it with my own hand, right? So I don't stab myself. I definitely don't want that. But at the same time, if I don't, and if this keeps going, I need to make sure that it parks right here and I don't stab myself. I definitely, if it's a double-edged, I don't want to cut myself either. So practice that. Boom. You see, even with the hand here, I did a full follow through and I'm safe, okay? So make sure you practice this. The other way to do it, there's 2 ways to do the Reaper technique. One is like this, where you're coming all the way from the side, boom, like this. Number 2 is to go straight and then change it off to the side. So straight, boom, to the side. So those are the 2 ways to do it. Obviously, from a very efficient point of view, coming straight and then changing it to the side seems a lot more efficient. It seems more logical, but don't count this one out, okay? When you're moving off to the side like this and they're following your body, so they're looking at my body, boom, and that's where the knife comes in, unexpected from the side, from way over nowhere. It comes out like that. It's the shot that they don't see that's going to hurt them, so that's exactly what you're doing. As they're following my body right here, the arm is left behind on purpose, and that's what's attacking them. It comes out of nowhere. So that's the whole idea. So don't count this technique out. All right, so make sure that you practice both ways. You're coming in this way, and make sure that you do, when you do the follow through, you don't cut yourself, you don't stab yourself. So boom, all the way. So it comes from the side, and the other way is to go straight and then off to the side, straight and off to the side. The idea is to stab and pierce through. All right, now the next step is if you actually practice this on real targets, and that's what's important, to actually get a live blade, work your way up. Okay, don't do this right now. You got to practice with this, with the training knife, get very comfortable with it, and then practice the training knife on targets, and then move up as you get a ton of reps. It should take months before you do this at the very least. And you should have stick training as well, so that you know you're very precise, okay, and that you're not going to mess up. So you have to have all this kind of background before going into the live blade onto live targets. But that's the end. That's the ultimate, the last level of training that you should be doing. But when you get there, you're going to notice that this technique, because you're stabbing and you're supposed to stab through, it's very difficult to do. Okay, it's not easy to do. In fact, it's dangerous for the user, because what can happen is your knife gets caught and you could disarm yourself, all right? Even worse is you could hurt your hand, hurt your grip, and now your hand is messed up, okay? Even worse than that is you disarm yourself and you hurt your hand, you know, so that's why it's very dangerous to the user. So what that means is, it doesn't mean that this technique is useless. It's like, oh, forget it, all right? If you're like military, police, or someone that needs to use this stuff immediately, then don't worry about this technique. But if you're in it for the study, in it for the long haul, and you want to get better and better as you go over time, years, okay, then make sure you include this in your arsenal. It's very important. This will take you to the next level. So knowing that this is dangerous to the user, that just means that you have to be more precise. So you have to be choosy about your targets. You can't just do this anywhere, everywhere, anytime you feel like, just going, yeah, it's a powerful move, I'm just going to do this. It doesn't work that way. You have to be technical. You have to choose where you're going to do it too. Sometimes you're going to do this. Sometimes it's going to be different techniques. And then at other times, it'll come into play. So you have to be very picky of when to do it. That's number one. Be more precise. Number two, there's another way to do it. One way is to stab through and then you're ripping, right? That's the idea of the technique. That's why it's called a reaper, because it's like you're using a scythe, and it's devastating if you could pull it off. The other idea is, I call this the razor, the reaper's razor, okay? And what you're doing here is now, instead of stabbing through, which in this case it would be around here, this is where you would stab and you would rip through right here at the corner. But instead, what we're going to be doing is you're just going to be on a flat surface. You're going to be doing that, okay? So the idea here is to put the blade edge on there and go all the way across, like so. Put the blade edge on there and go all the way across. Okay, this does take practice. You don't want to end up scraping your hand, you know, because not all knives are going to have a really good hand guard. So you have to practice that exactly. So you're putting the edge and you're using it as a razor, cutting on the surface, okay? So that's not as deep, it's not as committed, and you don't have to worry as much about getting your hand all caught up or disarming yourself. So that's a totally different technique. Same technique, but totally different usage of the technique. So use the razor version of the reaper. Boom, use the razor version, and you have to really practice that and feel that, okay? Last but not least, I said that the reaper technique will take you to the next level. I've already explained all the things, all the benefits that it will do for you by making you more technical. Instead of just slash and stab and that's all I do. Instead of that, we're dividing things up into more specific things. And by doing that, you're becoming more technical already. And now within the reaper technique, there's two ways to do it. Boom, and then straight and off to the side like so. And then I also talked about where you actually pierce through and rip. And then I also talked about where you're just using the edge right here and you're cutting through like that. And being able to do the difference there, that's once again taking you to where you become more skilled, more technical. Now the other thing is, if your blade does get caught, you're stabbing through and it does get caught, then at this point you could pull a little bit back out and then change it to a slash. So you get caught and you change it to a slash, okay? So this kind of idea where from right here and boom, and then it gets caught and then you change it to a slash. What that means is now your blade is a listening blade, okay? It has sensitivity now. So instead of just going slash, slash, hack, chop, that's all you're doing. Now your blade actually listens and contours to the opponent. Okay, so this is why it's so important to practice this, and I'm saying it'll take you to the next level. It does take a lot of practice, but that's the whole idea. So thank you for watching, and take care, folks.